Let's talk about G.I. Joe, a real American hero, number 301. So I actually don't have this on physical as a physical copy, but I will get the physical copy. I passed on this last week. So long story short, that was a mistake. I passed on it last week. I never read very many G.I. Joe comics. I enjoyed the cartoon tremendously as a child. I had a lot of the toys. I have the cartoon, of course, on DVD. And I never read the comics. So that's a big time fail on me. Everyone's told me, really, like, dude, you got to read these. So I went ahead and I got them all on Comixology. I'm talking about original Larry Hama comics. And Image, I guess with Larry Hama, have brought it back. It's 301. I know there was not 300 issues of the original series, so I'm guessing this is continuing the numbering from the IDW series, maybe, which I've read, of course, zero of. I have read maybe the first like 6 or 7 issues now of the original G.I. Joe comic. It's really good. So looking forward to going on with that. Let me know in the comments if that is something that you want to have addressed on the channel. Right now, Sean and I are doing we're doing the Transformers Marvel, but we're doing Transformer Thursdays, so Transformers Thursdays, and we're flipping between the Generation 1 cartoon plus the Marvel comics, the original comics. Let us know if you want us to do G.I. Joe. I would be definitely willing to do that if there's enough interest in it. It'd be completely brand new for me, so it'd be a very cool way to get into G.I. Joe, the comics. In the meantime, I did grab this because, I don't know, it's one of those, you know what, let me just get it, and then let me see what it's like. I really enjoyed this comic. Let's talk about it using the space system. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2's the best you can get. There's going to be a lot of 2s in this review. Let's talk about the storyline. I'm going to give the storyline a friggin' 2 out of 2, man. There's a lot of pages. There's a lot of words. A lot of pages, a lot of words. That's where usually J-Man checks out. No, look, everyone knows I love my action. I want big fights. I want epic battles. I'm like kind of the 90s guy where it's like everything was big, bold, and badass, right? But I'm also reading a lot of Golden Age comics, and I've been actually going through the Green Lantern Golden Age stuff. And I really been enjoying that. And that's very wordy. And I just started Liberty Bell just because I thought she was kind of a cool character. So it is heavy on words and dialogue but it is done so well for me. Basically, and I don't know what's happened before. So if you're in the comments, you want to let me know what have I missed, I guess, up to here. But looks like Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender, they've created some sort of like virus or something. And the entire issue is counting down to where Serpentor is going to release or activate this thing, trigger this thing. And you're like, what the hell's going on, right? And there's a lot of tension because you're just like, well, are they going to stop? Are they going to stop this? At one point, you're thinking, I don't think the Joes can stop this at this point. So I don't know if, should I spoil this or what? I don't know. It's been a week. I'm not going to spoil it. How about I don't spoil it just for now? The pacing, it's a longer comic, but I'm giving the pacing a 2 out of 2. You know, I was really enthralled in this entire story and it got me. I was completely into it and I had no idea where it was going. And there is a bit of a surprise, I suppose. Even me saying there's a surprise might give away the surprise. So, but I thought it was just really well paced. There's action and stuff. I guess there could always be more action in a G.I. Joe comic. I mean, that's just, that maybe goes without saying. You could always have more action. But I was pretty impressed. The artistry, I'm actually going to give the artistry a 2 out of 2. Now, I do like showing the physical comic. I'm not a big fan of presenting on an iPad. I've done it so many times. I have done it so many times in other videos, and that's because I can't physically buy every comic. I just don't have the space for it, to be honest. But I am gonna get this one though now that I've read it. But I I like the art. It is very vibrant. I also turned the brightness up a little bit on my iPad just so it helps me see. But I think it looks really cool. Now I'm not sure what a Joe fan would think about this. So I wanna give the sort of the disclaimer, asterisk disclaimer. Again, I've read 8 GI Joe comics in my entire life. This is the 8th one, kind of a thing. And this is like, I did read the first few issues a while back when they had a sale years ago on Comixology, which was the digital version, and and then I just stopped because of whatever, and now I've gone back and read and started to read again. So I'm not the GI Joe expert. This is just regular comic guy reading a comic. That's it. So take that for what you will. But yeah, I really like the art here. It for me, it was nice. So I don't know if people think this art is suited to GI Joe. You can let me know in the comments what you thought. Speaking of art, I do want to mention my channel sponsor, which is beardedshirts.com. They do these amazing print all over shirts. This is a polyester shirt of Superboy. You can see examples of their shirts. They also have just regular shirts with just the characters on it. They do a lot of DC stuff. So the link to beardedshirts.com is in the description of this video. So check them out. They've got a great sale on right now that they're counting down to Black Friday. So, and the sales now are going to be equal or better than what's going to be on Black Friday. So if you want to grab something, grab it now. All right, let's get into the characters. Now it's GI Joe. The one thing that GI Joe has is great characters. Villains like Cobra Commander is awesome. Like Cobra and the Joes have great characters. This is one of these properties where like almost every character is cool in some way. Firstly, they just look cool. I don't know their personalities a lot based on comic book personalities, but they've got big time recognizable names, right? We've got Duke, Hawk, Roadblock, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Lady J, right? Obviously, you can't even go through Cobra. There's just like every character is the damn best on Cobra. So obviously I have to give it a 2 out of 2 for the characters because they're just the friggin' best. And they're great in this comic. Cobra Commander has always been sort of a childhood favorite. I've got a bust of Cobra Commander that actually my buddy Steve got me. You see Steve on some of my other streams. Snake Eyes, obviously, Storm Shadow. These are some fantastic characters. They've stood the test of time. So you got to give it 2 out of 2 for the characters, which brings me to the enjoyment factor, which I'm going to have to give this a 2 out of 2. I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10. And, I hate doing that because sometimes people will be like, what do you mean a 10? Because I've given a few 10 out of 10s recently, and I don't want you to lose faith in my credibility. I am tough on comics, but I'm fair. And fair means that if it is done well, why shouldn't it be 10 out of 10? I want to remind everybody that my space system is based on judging the comic on its own terms, as well as the terms of your expectations. So the only disclaimer, again, I can give is that my expectations are I don't know what to expect because I didn't read that many G.I. Joe comics. So, having not read G.I. Joe comics, picking this up and reading it, I thought it was awesome. Now, of course, I know the cartoon, so I have some knowledge of G.I. Joe. I don't know how it differs from the comics, though I know it does differ. I don't know how much it differs or to what capacity, or, is this guy dead in the comic or is he a villain or not? I don't know. So, just guy picking up a comic book, reading it, I thought it was 10 out of 10. If you think it's not 10 out of 10 or an 8 or 9, basically, if you're saying it's an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, we're pretty much in agreement. A point here and there, plus minus, it doesn't really affect anything. Basically, to me, if I'm giving a comic an 8 out of 10 or more, that's highly recommended. I'm not saying that G.I. Joe 301 is better than Watchmen, right? That's nonsense. But what I'm saying is that when you pick up a comic called G.I. Joe, it's issue 301, you have expectations. I think that it met those expectations based on what my expectations were in 10 out of 10. Watchmen is a masterpiece, so obviously that's 10 out of 10 because it's just a masterpiece and it's awesome. So there you go. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. And if you like my review system, And you want to help support the channel, like this video, share it, subscribe. I do have memberships opening up. Depending on when you see this video, they might not be available just yet, but we're doing member giveaways, monthly member giveaways. We're going to do live streams and all that other cool stuff, all the stuff that comes with memberships. And it'd be great to have more members join up. I really like to hear from everybody. I don't block comments. I don't block, like if you want to comment, go for it. If you don't, if you think it's stupid, if you think I made a mistake, let me know. I have made mistakes. Like I've not liked something and someone's explained it to me, and then I've liked it a little bit more when I read it the second time. Alternatively, maybe I really like something. I read it again later. I watch a movie, a few years after I see it. I'm like, well, that movie wasn't that good. What the heck was I thinking? So it's happened. I'm a human being. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.